It's my pleasure to have Mark Morton of Lamb of God on the phone. G'day, Mark. How you doing?
Doing well. Very happy to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, man, great. Thank you for yours. Where do we find you at the moment? I see that, we're expecting you here the 26th of October along with Slipknot. But at the moment, I guess, what are you kicking back at home, working on a new album? What's keeping you busy?
I'm kicking back at home. That part is correct. Working on some music as well. Not so much stuff for Lamb right now. Lamb's taking just a short break before we get back to touring again. I'm pretty much always working on music in some form or another, so that's what's been keeping me busy for sure.
Yeah, now I know that you're a big fan of blues, and I think you've said in the past that's probably your root music where it all comes from for you. And I understand that you're working on a side project with the drummer from Clutch.
That is correct, and in fact, we played just about a week and a half or so ago. So that's a project that's in motion. We don't really have a name for it yet, and we've put just a couple tunes out on the internet and just got a phenomenal response. People really seem to dig it, which is exciting because we do as well.
Yeah, no, it's cool to be able to do something, outside of, I guess, what is the 9-to-5 day job for you now in Lamb of God.
Yeah, no doubt. It's, genre-wise and music-wise, very, very different than Lamb of God. It's kind of exciting for me creatively to be able to reach out and mess around a little bit more with that blues element that I like so much, and a little bit of a fusion side to it all as well. So, again, it's something I'm super excited about. It doesn't really in any way conflict with what Lamb's doing. In fact, I'm not sure that it'll translate necessarily to all of our fans, but I have had a great response so far.
Yeah, how did the hookup with Jean-Paul come about?
Just known him for years between Clutch and Lamb of God, playing shows together and that kind of thing. And we did a tour, years ago, probably 10 years ago, called Sounds of the Underground, and they were on it. And that was the first time I actually ever jammed with JP. And we literally set up in the parking lot behind where the gig was, and a bunch of people were just taking turns jamming. And that's the first time I actually ever played with him. And he is just an unbelievable good drummer. So I knew then that I'd love to jam with the guy. And we live close by. The Clutch is from the Maryland area, and we're just next door in Virginia, so it wasn't unrealistic for us to talk about getting together and making some music.
Yeah, cool, man. I checked out, is it Snowbound? I think I heard on SoundCloud the other day. It's a very, very cool tune, but like you say, kind of blues with a bit of a jazz fusion influence, so slightly different than what you'd normally do.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I appreciate you checking it out.
Obviously, one of your other loves outside of ripping it up for Lamb of God is your cars. Just finished reading Randy's book, and he mentions in there that you've always got several cars sitting around the yard in various states of repair. What's your latest project?
Yeah, he's right about that. Actually, it's slowed down a little bit. Several years ago, I became a father, and raising a child has kind of slowed down some of those pursuits. I haven't really been racing all that lately, and some of the projects are still kind of in the garage. But I have a deep love for Oldsmobiles. I don't know if you guys have Oldsmobiles down there, an older GM brand of car, and they're not unheard of, but not everyone's into them. But I love them, and so I've got a couple Cutlasses that I tinker on. So one of them is about halfway done.
Now, you got a bit of time between now and October 26 being here. Well, we're just over a month away. Do you have any regime to keep, gig fit?
I play guitar a lot, and I just, chase my daughter around and go to the gym a couple times a week and try and stay just able to move at least. So, no, but not really. Try and mainly stay good on the instrument and stay up to par in my playing.
The last album, Dumont Drug, obviously has been out for a little while now, but there was a little bit of a shift in sound, I think, for Lamb of God. I mean, without going into everything that you guys went through with Randy, I mean, did that have an effect on the writing and what you put this latest album? Because it feels, whereas previously Lamb of God, and, if you had to use one word to sum up the sound, I mean, while it had groove, it was very much angry and confrontational. This album's felt a little more reflective, maybe a little more grown up, and maybe tinged with a little bit of sadness.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that's fair to say. The way it was written was, we've covered this quite a bit when we were promoting the album when it was released, but the way it was written was a little bit different this time, whereby we went back to Willie and I really collaborating together on most of the songs on the album, whereas the previous few albums before, you would hear a song that Willie brought in most of the music for, or songs that I brought in most of the music for. And so you were kind of getting two distinct personalities depending on what song you were listening to. Whereas on Storm and Drang, most of the songs were co-writes musically between Willie and myself. So each song is more likely on that album to be a hybrid of those two personalities rather than a reflection of just one. And then as well, lyrically, while I did write a couple songs on the album lyrically, I wrote less words this time than what I normally do. That's a distinction as well.
Yeah, I guess, from a punter point of view, I think most people, who maybe don't look into it too deeply, expect that the lead singer writes the lyrics. So in terms of you writing, say, lyrics for Randy, how does that process work? Because I'd imagine there'll be something in Randy's delivery where maybe he looks at it and goes, well, my phrasing here is not going to work with this, I'm going to do this. How does that work when you give him, lyrics to a new Lamb of God song?
Sure. It actually works smoother than one might think if they were just kind of glancing at the situation. First of all, Randy himself is a phenomenal lyricist, so it's never been a question of me writing because there was some sort of deficiency in what was there. Randy's a great lyricist, and he's written the lyrics to some of my favorite Lamb of God songs. But I am a lyricist as well, and what happens is a lot of times when I'm writing the music to a song, as I'm putting that song together, I'll hear an idea on how the vocals should go. So very often when I present a song to the band, it will be in a form that has a vocal with it that I will do a demo of so that you can hear what I'm thinking for the lyrics, for the vocals. And Randy and I have a good relationship as friends and as co-writers and as artists. So he's very often he might like what I brought in, and he's happy to start exploring that. And he might make some little changes along the way. He might leave some things exactly as I brought them in, or we all kind of work on it together. But so that's really how it works. It's just a matter of who's got an idea and if it's a good one.
Looking back at that, I mean, Overlord probably stands out for me from the record as something different that Lamb of God have done on your latest offering. I mean, was there any point where you and Willie or you and Randy looked at each other and went, "Is this a Lamb of God song?"
It's funny we're talking about collaboration, and Overlord is a perfect example where Willie and I co-wrote the music. Willie brought that in first, but I added the chorus, and I wound up writing the chorus lyrics as well, where Randy wrote the verses. So it's really something that everyone was working on together. In that sense, everyone was kind of invested in the song together. Really the whole band was. It was fortunate in that sense that everyone was kind of taking a turn with it and contributing to it. The question, did we feel like maybe it wasn't a Lamb of God song, or was it right for Lamb of God? I don't think so, because I think just because of the fact that everyone was, it was actually, everything about it was a Lamb of God song because we were all working on it. So I don't think we're at this stage in our career necessarily scared to take chances. And Overlord, to a degree, I think was a little bit of a risk because it was something that people wouldn't expect from us or weren't necessarily looking for us to do. But it came very naturally. It wasn't some sort of strategic move or anything like that. It's just a song that it really came about and came out of us, just like the rest of the songs on that album did in the same way.
Yeah, quality. It's a great
It
track,
never
man.
felt anything but natural.
Yeah, great track. I mean, it reminded me from the off with that real bluesy intro, a little like something Lane Staley and Alice in Chains might have done. That kind of had that kind of feel to it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's interesting. I actually saw Alice in Chains last night.
Quality. All right, Mark. Well, we better talk about you getting here October 26th, and you're going to be playing with Slipknot. I mean, how did touring with those guys come about? Is that something you've done a lot in the past? You're friends with, all the guys, Jim and Corey and all those dudes, or was this purely just a business decision?
No, we've got a great relationship with Slipknot. We've been working with them for quite some time, and over the course of that time and playing so many shows together, we've developed a friendship with those guys, and so got the same managers, and so it's actually very comfortable and natural for us to tour with them. And yeah, it just made sense for us to go down there with them. It's going to be great shows, and we've done work with them here in North America recently, so it'll be great to take that to another part of the world.
Yeah, New Zealand, Australia, here we come. All right, well, before we let you go, Mark, I mean, if you're wandering the streets of Auckland and a Lamb of God fan sees you and wants to buy you a drink, what's your poison these days, just so we can, cut to the chase?
Wants to buy me a drink, these days, a nice tall glass of iced tea would be good by me.
Your liver will thank you for that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, good stuff, Mark. Great chatting to you. Thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you down here.
All right, thanks a lot for your time. Take care.